from the attack to lay out their demands. They're calling the attacks the Blacklist.
The Blacklist.
The Blacklist.
Hello there, Sir from 17 once again. This is my Splinter Cell Blacklist Perfectionist difficulty video walkthrough. This is mission 10. It's the LNG terminal. This is actually a little interlude before the real mission, but I've kept it in because it does involve moving through the ship. And, you know, what would a walkthrough be if I didn't walk you through all the areas where you need to control the character? I get a lot of comments from, you know, strangers on my channel who don't understand why I don't put cutscenes in. Well, it's very simple really, guys. There are plenty of playthroughs on YouTube. There are hundreds, man, of every game. Like, search anything and you can get playthroughs. You can get playthroughs with commentary, playthroughs without, and all of them have the cutscenes. This is a walkthrough. There is absolutely no people on this planet that need help through cutscenes. You know, you're sitting watching something happen, and to make the most efficient guide I can, cutscenes have to go. And they have to go for a number of reasons. One, because you don't need any help from them, so it's wasting my time talking over a section that's unnecessary. And two, cutscenes are one of the major threats of getting copyright flags on your channel. Because, you know, this is something that someone's designed, this is something that somebody has animated, this has got voice actors in it. These are, for all intents and purposes, films, mini-films within games. And out of all the stuff that happens in a game, you don't control the cutscenes for the most, and they are the easiest thing to get copyright flags. I'm telling you guys, cutscenes are notorious for it. You can get inappropriate material flags from cutscenes because they show anything remotely close to nudity. You can get a lot of different things, you know. The systems at play on YouTube are just waiting for you to have something on your channel that it deems you do not own, and I do not want to encourage it any further because it's already a bastard that makes no sense, and to dispute it you literally have to go to the court of law and drink from Abraham Lincoln's beard. It's just stupid. So the easiest thing is just complete avoidance and minimizing the damage, and that's where, you know, cutscenes have to go. A great example is my Final Fantasy VIII playthrough. I had to remove the dance sequence. Like, that's not because it didn't happen, that's not because I didn't talk over it or enjoy it or have a really fun bit of commentary on it. It's because that video was unable to be played because there was something in that particular part of the game that YouTube flagged and I could not dispute because they essentially said my dispute was bullshit. Even though I had 20 other videos already uploaded that were perfect, that had cutscenes in them and everything. It's so selective, it's so difficult to control, and your channel can be closed, so you've got to be really careful. And I have like 2,000 and odd videos on this channel. I've put a lot of, you know, blood, sweat and tears into it, and I don't want to have it damaged by something as trivial as a technicality. But all that's left to be done on this little interlude bit of the mission is go back to the cockpit. It's going to then transition into the main mission because everything after that point is cutscenes, and I've just spent a few minutes there explaining why I don't have cutscenes in my walkthroughs. So yeah, there you go. But I should really use this opportunity to speak about my thoughts on the game, because I've shared mechanical issues and I've shared things that I really appreciate. A lot of people are asking how long the game is. So the game is as long as you want it to be, because there's side missions, there's the multiplayer, there's the replay value of hunting for scores, for getting the upgrades, buying the guns, buying the attachments, all that kind of stuff. And then there's give or take around 11 missions. Each of them I would average is about an hour long, depending on your skill level and difficulty, and depending on how much you take your time. Like, some of these videos are only 10 minutes long, but it didn't take 10 minutes to record them because there's a lot of cutscenes, there's, you know, sometimes there's mistakes, things like that. It's all indicative of your playstyle, really. Do I think it's worth purchasing? Yes. Why is that? Simple. It has a multiplayer that's probably really good. I just haven't experienced it too much yet. The co-op stuff is good, and it'll be fun with a friend. It's not so fun on your own. The single player is the strongest single player campaign since Double Agent. The game works, it's got a lot of customization, it's got a lot of detail and depths in places that you don't expect, and the only real criticisms of it, for me personally, is it doesn't feel like a Splinter Cell game because the voice actor's different, and to some people, like, there's people that haven't even noticed the voice actors change, which is how much they're invested in Michael Ironside. Unfortunately, I was a fanboy of Total Recall growing up, and I really liked Highlander 2, even though the film itself is unanimously shit. Like, I like Michael Ironside. The guy's a fantastic actor, and I liked him as Sam Fisher, and he made Sam Fisher for me. And I haven't noticed until recently how much a voice actor matters to my enjoyment of a game. And it seems, you know, so materialistic and so simple and silly, but it's a big deal. And it's strange, but if you're on the fence over the game, I would definitely say rent it to make your mind up. And for some people, a rental's enough, you know, all depending on how fast you beat this game. Like, within a day, I'd beat it on its hardest difficulty. Within the next day, I'd recorded a guide on its hardest difficulty. You know, if I was the type of person that played a game once, rentals would definitely be the way to do it. But I'm looking forward to playing this game again and going back into it and experimenting with certain things. So for me, it's an easy purchase, because the gaming agenda at this moment in time has been kind of quiet. Saints Row's come out, but it's one of those things where I'm going to play that game in co-op, and my co-op partner doesn't really care too much for it. That right there, if you're wondering, was a dude with a drone. He was probably on the last few frames of his animations of looking from up to down back to his Game Boy. That's why he was aware of me, and that's why he didn't spot me, because it was timed that well. I recommend doing the exact path I did. If you get spotted, it's not your fault, it's just the unlucky AI path. It will work eventually, you just need to get that run that nails it. So this is the worst or best part of the level, depending on your persuasion. It is a mandatory subdue moment. You have to fight these opponents. I'm going to be doing it stealthily, taking them down with my gadgets and things. It's entirely up to you and how you want to play, but it's a shame that you couldn't just do something to distract these people, like, you know, set up some kind of sensors or some kind of bombs that sabotage what they're doing in this place, and instead of taking them out, you just preoccupy them all so you can go down the zip line and you can save the firemen. But instead, you know, it always has to end this way. We have to take them out. And there's a shit ton of guys too. Guys with the red goggles that see you in the dark, guys with armor that are assholes and have super good hearing. And my advice for you is simple. For the armoured guys, use the pipes, because when they get close enough to you, instead of saying aerial knockout on X, it'll say knockout. And what Sam will do is Sam will leverage himself down, kick them in the face, and then hug the pipe again. Big problem with this move is it has a lot of recovery frames. So if you get spotted while Sam's dragging his lazy ass back up on the pipe, you know, you'll be in trouble and you'll have to reload the checkpoint. But a couple of things to bear in mind, he is like 50. He might look 25, but that's just because the modelers have got no idea what they're doing anymore. It's just got to the point where he's Benjamin Button at this point. He's getting older and he's aging backwards. Like in the next one, he's probably going to be Edward Norton or something. It's just ridiculous how young he looks. Give him a bit of grey in his temples, they think it adds 30 years, and it really doesn't. But I don't think there's any checkpoints in this moment, so I do recommend being as cool and collected as you can. You know, pull out all the moves that you're used to doing. I lured the big guy into the body so I could take him down. I have mines, I have the tricopter, I have gas, I have all sorts of tools at my disposal, and you might as well use them because there's no real need for them after this sequence. What I will say is, because I used my gun so much, my stun gun, I didn't have enough ammunition to shoot all the people at the end of this mission. So, one thing to bear in mind, if you're doing a zero kill run, I recommend saving your stun gun so that it's got at least about 6 shots in it, or saving your sleeping gas, or something along those lines. You know, instead of doing this when I'm doing, jump down and knock them out, or knock them out from behind. It might not be as quick or as safe, but it's going to save you the ammo that's needed later on. And unfortunately, I can't remember how much I need, but suffice to say, I don't think I have enough, but we'll soon see. So as soon as Grim asks for a status report, that means you've downed everybody in the vicinity, and you're able then to use the zip line and get to this little cutscene that's about to trigger on landing. There's your cutscene, and there's our next objective. So, for the most, this is platforming to get to the control room, but there are a couple of areas that you're going to have to stealth through people. This level is probably one of the easiest on the game, just because every scenario is quite quick and quite simple if you've got a good path. And I managed to get decent paths through all of it, which was nice. But I'm happy to cover this game on my channel too, because Splinter Cell has been an important game for me for a long time. You know, I remember playing the demo on the original, for the original game, sorry, and I remember getting in that Chinese restaurant and just feeling like this game could be really good. And I've not covered any of the other ones just due to, you know, the way my channel's worked. And that's definitely a shame. And when I think back to all the games I haven't covered, because anybody who's, you know, who's seen some of my early commentaries or seen some of the early podcasts where perhaps I've gone into the stories of my origins and how I got started. Ever since I got my Xbox and Gears of War, I've wanted to record video and put it on the internet. The problem is, I'm technologically inept unless, you know, I've got friends to show me, or unless it's spelt out in the simplest terms on Google, which it very rarely ever is. And if it is, I'm too dumb to find it. And it's one of those things where it took me quite a long time to find out where the technology was, how to get it, how to install it, how to use it, before I could do it. And in the time it took me, I could have done so much more and made so many more projects. And all that technology in the future, and that keyboard looks like a typewriter. Not only that, but that USB port and the USB are huge. This future tech is crazy, man. They've got drones that you can control, they've got all this crazy stuff. Yet that keyboard literally looked like something out of Ghostbusters. So this right here is so sneaky. There's vents, there's all sorts of tricky ways of getting out of this room, or you can just cling on this girder, wait for all the fat guys to come in, and then just shuffle your way out. Definitely one of the cheeky routes through a room that I'm most proud of, because it's just so obvious, and yet it works. Wait for them to walk away, climb up, and then just walk out. You couldn't do it any better. You really couldn't. It's just, whoever designed that room is watching this and is kind of pissed. Because he put all the time and all the effort into the paths and making sure that there was weakness in the paths so that you could get round and do all the tricky pipe jumping and stuff, and I just did that. So this is the moment where I don't have enough ammo to shoot everybody reliably, so instead I'm going to use gadgets on these people. So I'm throwing sticky EMPs at him, if you're wondering. Note to self, sticky EMPs don't do anything to people. I was hoping it would electrocute him. I don't know why. So instead, I throw some sleeping gas and it knocks out 2 people. And for anybody wondering, do you have to chase this guy and make sure he doesn't get away? Don't worry, he waits for you. I don't think you can fail it if you don't do this quickly. The game just wants you to. And the irony is, the faster you do this, the easier it is to die. So just bear in mind that it's not this massive rush that the music's telling you. Oh, good story here too. My first playthrough on Perfectionist, I could glide down here and kick that dude without any troubles. When I was recording the guide, that bastard killed me twice. There was no way I was getting down that rope without being shot, and I don't know why. So, if you're having troubles and you're wondering why, you know, you can't get past him, it's just the luck of the draw, folks. I had to throw that smoke bomb, that sleeping bomb, sorry, because I just couldn't do it. He was being an asshole. So, I'm throwing proximity shockers, if you're wondering, and then I'm going to snipe this guy with my ammunition. And I think I did have enough ammo to shoot everybody, or shoot everybody but one, perhaps. The difference is, at the distance some of these shots are, it can be tricky getting, you know, one shot, one down. So instead I decided to use the gadgets. But this is all preference at this point. You know, you've been playing this game for long enough, you know how to play at this point. You're just looking at these videos, if you're here, for the paths. You know, for the ways around the tricky rooms, and there's no real tricky rooms in this level. Excuse me, Christ, that came out of nowhere. But that's another Ghost Mastery. That is the 6th of this guide. The 7th will be the next mission, the next and final mission. So I'll see you there, folks. Thank you for watching, and you take care now.